Hello, everybody. Oh,
Hello.
we are so excited to be here. I am talking to an old friend, the fabulous digital artist, illustrator, Fabiola Lara. Hello, Fabiola. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. I love Adobe Live, so I feel like this is my second virtual home.
Yeah, we're going to learn all about you today, and you're going to show us some amazing stuff using Adobe Fresco on your iPad. So, thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm going to ask you all to subscribe to Adobe Live on YouTube if you don't already, and be sure to check us out on Instagram as well, Adobe Live, where we put a ton of fun content, social posts, and on YouTube, obviously, you'll get the latest streams and a lot of different replays. But for today and right now, I'm going to turn it over to Fabiola to tell us a little bit about who she is and what she does.
Yes. Hi, everyone. If you haven't been to one of my streams before, I'm an illustrator. I'm a podcaster who's currently on a break, and I'm also a content creator. And I do all of my illustration work right now in Adobe Fresco. So I'm really excited to show you how I do all of that. And before I get into the actual work, let me show you some of the work I've previously done in case you're not familiar with my work, which I completely understand if you're not. So let's see if we pop over to my iPad. I have everything here. Okay, so this is my website. Here you can see my portfolio. This is my
Such fun
podcast.
colors.
I know I
Love the
love
colors.
colors. Videos, again, I haven't posted on YouTube in a minute. You guys know how hard it is to keep up with everything. So if we go look at my portfolio, here's some of the work I've done. I'll try and go slower. I realize it's a little wild when I'm scrolling like crazy. So I designed and illustrated the Instagram vote stickers. I did a mural for the city of Philadelphia for a development that was coming up. And I did this in Adobe Fresco because it needed to be vectorized so that they could, you know, out and make it work really big. So this is actually 8 by 22 foot mural that I designed in Adobe Fresco. So that I was so thankful for Fresco in that moment because otherwise I didn't really know how I was going to illustrate in Illustrator without Fresco. And
Yeah.
then here we have some comics that I've done. So this one was for the LA Times. It's 10 panels, and all of that was created in Fresco the entire time. Have some spot illustrations that I created for the Knot magazine. I really like how these turned out. The best thing
They're
about
so fun. They're
the best
so
thing about
fun.
working digitally is you can just like make the background transparent and you're good to go, you know? You don't have to clean anything up. So yeah, this is a bit about my work. It's a little bit of everything. And now that you know everything about me that you could possibly know, let's jump
Not
over to
yet.
Adobe Fresco. I know, I'm
Not
kidding, I'm
yet.
kidding.
Okay, before you jump over to Fresco, let's get to know you even more. You showed us your artwork, but I bet people tuning in would love to know, when did you tell us your artist journey? When did you know that you wanted to be a creative professional? What drew you to the creative field? How did you get from that moment to now? That's a lot of questions, I know.
Yes, this is a big, big, lofty question. So, I went to school at the University of Florida, and when I first got in there, I wanted to study biochemistry, and so I did that for 2 years. Well, they didn't have biochemistry at the time, so I just did microbiology for 2 years, and then I was like, I don't want to be a scientist. I can't see myself going into a lab every day. I just couldn't do it. And then I was like a teacher. I was like, no, I can't. I don't have the patience. So I decided I need to look at things that I would actually want to do. And I realized, as I was looking online, I was like, oh my gosh, graphic designer, that seems cool. Like all these different cool positions that I was like, what do these people want from me if I want that position? And I realized I needed to go into marketing or advertising or graphic design. Unfortunately for me, I was 2 years late to apply for graphic design, because usually you have to do that from the beginning. So I switched to
Oh,
advertising. and I did like, I did everything on my own after that. That's the point of the story, is that I was basically self-taught just because I knew that this is what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to
Wow.
like stay in school for an extra 2 years because it's
Mhm.
expensive. So I
Yes.
just kind of took it upon myself after that. And it was baby steps. It wasn't like from the minute I got out of college, I went into a creative career. It wasn't like that. When I first left college, I went into working as a creative strategist. So if you are familiar with the role, you don't actually design or create any art. You just kind of come up with cool concepts. And at the time, I was selling those cool ideas to brands. And I had a lot of fun doing that. But slowly through this career, I started to realize like I want to be more hands on with creative
Mhm.
design. And that's how I started to do that on the side and develop that little by little. I had a
Yeah.
Tumblr with my art on it. And then I got contacted by
Mhm.
an art director, and she was like, "Do you want to make something for Teen Vogue?" I was like, absolutely.
Oh.
I had no idea what an invoice was. I had no idea how anything worked. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Um, and ever since then, I slowly started to understand the the role and the job, and that it could be an actual career. And that's how we are where we are today. A series of little steps.
Well, what was the first tool you learned on your own? Digital
Definitely
tool.
Photoshop. It had to be
Wow.
Photoshop. Was the first tool that I used. Am I wrong in Dreamweaver? That was an
Yeah.
Adobe product, right? So I remember using Dreamweaver to make a website at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was a little kind of,
Dreamweaver. Yeah.
me and Adobe go way back.
Yeah.
And now that Fresco is here, it's my favorite one.
Yeah, and that's why we're talking about it today.
Yeah.
So you did all these illustrations with in Fresco?
Yeah,
Is
so I
that
do
right?
all of my work in Fresco. Like if I show you here for a comic, so this is a comic I pitched and then actually was able to publish in the LA Times. And it's really funny because I kind of start out, this
Oh, I
was
love
my
comics.
sketch here. The first thing I did for anyone curious was write the art director who was in charge of picking the comics and say, here's my idea for a comic. And then she was
Mhm.
like, okay, yeah, we want that comic. I pitched a few different ideas. And after that, I had to write it. So I I wrote it before I came into Adobe Fresco, right? Because like Adobe Fresco is not the best tool for writing, but I just wrote it in my notes
Mhm.
app. It was nothing crazy. And once I had it in my notes, I broke it down into my panels and I sent this over. And this is just in Fresco. And it kind of allows me to quickly put together the whole story without having to go back and forth with a million tools, And it's way better than like a
Yeah.
Google Doc, because you can do it in a Google Doc. There are publishers who want that. You write like the copy and then you write the idea for the visual. But I
Uh-huh.
found this so much easier.
How
And yeah,
cute.
I love that there's also like folders in Adobe Fresco. So this file is very unorganized, as you can tell. But this is the real way that I work. Sometimes I knew this was just a sketch, so I didn't bother organizing it.
Yeah.
But you can see here I have all these panels. Where is that one? So I have all these panels and I have them grouped,
Yeah.
and I'm able to just like move those around. And what I ended up doing was duplicating this exact file and actually creating the panels. Actually, I'm lying. I didn't do that. I create one panel at a time because obviously you want
Mhm.
to be able to export each panel. So I did it. I'll show you how I did it. I don't even have to tell you.
Sure. There are other people like Penny Doodles, I love your name. Fresco is super fun. I'm I'm seeing a lot of other people online who are also Fresco lovers, and then when you mentioned Dreamweaver, DW,
Oh, I'm so
Robert
sorry. I
uses
didn't
it
realize it still
nearly
exists. Everyone's like, Dreamweaver still
every
exists.
day.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry,
Yeah,
Dreamweaver
Robert's like,
fans.
"Yay." Sure. We have these pillows all around the office of, the chiclets, like PS
Yeah.
for Photoshop, as you guys know, Illustrator, AI, but we still have one called DW, DW, so for
So,
sure.
okay, okay. Now I learned something new. I learned something from you guys. There's a loyal fan base for Dreamweaver. I just haven't had the need yet, but I'm sure I'll return one day. Um, to keep going with my
Oh,
comics
comics?
process, you can see here I just once I exported the sketch here on the left, I ended up just bringing that into a I think this is a 300 by 3000 by 3000 panel. I don't know why that's
Mhm.
like my go-to. I feel like my brushes look good when I export, everything looks good. It still gives me enough flexibility if I need to like make it bigger. I don't know. I just this is my go-to size.
Mhm.
I tend to work at this size no matter the ratio. Just, in case there's any nerds in the room, which I'm sure there are.
Yeah. Wondering if other people use
Self-proclaimed.
different ratios, please share in the chat and
Yeah,
let us know.
definitely. So let me just show you exactly how a file like this breaks down. You can see here I have basically, and this is really like something that I love about working in Fresco is the group folders. I use them a lot, especially in comic work, because you can see here I have every single panel. So we have 10 of these panels all grouped individually. So then when I go to export, I just like turn it on and then just do a quick export and I have it. Or I'll do a
Oh,
PNG export.
this one is cute, I really like it with the gloves.
Yes, yes. So this comic was about how like growing up, my mom used to wake me up with the pots and pans banging around. I could hear them. And it was so annoying because I did not want to clean on a weekend. Like who wants to do that? But now I totally understand where she was coming from. It has to be done. And now I kind of enjoy it and I have fun doing it. So it's kind of like a reset. And I put on my, favorite childhood playlist. And,
Oh.
it's like a full ritual. I use like the same tools, the same products. And then, yeah, and that's what the comic was about. And so it was really fun and cute. And I love working in Fresco because if I don't know if you can tell, I'm going to zoom in a lot, you guys.
Mhm.
This is a mix of vector tools and
Oh,
raster tools that I use kind of at the same time. A good
wow.
example would be maybe these leaves here. So I grouped it all. Look, this one's nice and organized, Teresa. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's possible. It's possible for me to do it. So in here, you can see I have here, this is vector. The actual leaves are vector. Then I put on top this texture, and then I draw the line art on top of it. And in this case, there's some line
Amazing.
art below it as well.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it. And I can quickly show you in real time how
That's a
something like that comes to be too.
that's a great mix of that's a great mix that I was curious if anybody out there watching does the same thing.
Yeah, let us know. I really like going for like a sloppy or like a cutout rough kind of effect. So I know you can get really crisp vectors. That's what people use it for. For some reason, I don't want to do that. So for example, in this lamp, I just make like a weird circle. I'm not perfect with it. I think I'm just leaning into my laziness. Like I don't want to bother making a perfect circle. And so that's my style now. I just don't do that. And
Girl, nothing
it's
is
fine.
perfect in this world. Nothing is
Yeah,
perfect.
but let me show you. I could, right, definitely come into here. I think I'm just, yeah, there we go. And I can hold it down at the bottom right and go to circle. And I
And you can make a
definitely
circle.
could make a really perfect circle here, right? Instead of the one I just drew. I could do a
I
new
like the
layer
first one better.
and I could fill it with vector. And now I have a perfect circle. But, that doesn't have character. You can't see my hand in that. It's clean.
Yep,
Anyone can do it, right? Um,
I agree.
who else can draw that bad of a circle? just me, you know?
It's
So
uniquely you, it's your circle.
it's my
And if I
circle.
were to draw a circle, it won't be perfect and it'll have, like, different lines.
Exactly, exactly. So that's why I like to keep it in. I think it has charm. And once I create the vector, I then go in with my this noise control brush. To be honest, I don't remember which pack it comes from anymore. It's just in my favorites, but it's definitely one that's already built into Fresco. It's not like a new brush or like an imported brush. And
Mhm.
I have it set to be pretty large, right? It's pretty big, and I just use it
Mm,
to add some of that texture. And
nice.
I like to create the texture like in a different color. I want my colors to like burn your eyes a little bit. Um, I that's my intent. So, that's how I do it. Oh, Carlos, hi, thanks for being here. Shout out to
Oh,
Carlos,
hi,
also in the
Carlos.
chat. Great designer as well. So,
Imperfect imperfect circles. Yeah, imperfect anything, I think it's better than everything being so pristine and, like, precise. That
clean.
that actually isn't yeah.
There's a time and place for it for sure, but in a comic, it's not necessarily what you have to do. And then
Yeah. And for those of you who's just joining us, we're talking to Fabiola Lara. She's showing us some of her art on Fresco, and this is a forum where you all can ask questions of, like, what she's doing or double click on something she just showed. Don't be shy, and then also tell us your process. We would love to know, how you do something similar, as well. Wade
yeah, if you
says,
have any
"No."
questions about my process, let me know.
Yeah.
I'm all ears.
Not just the
Um,
process, but Fabiola as a person. Like,
that's
what's your
true. I'm
favorite
also
what's your
here as a
favorite color?
person.
You have so many colors on your art.
Lime
Do
green.
you have okay.
You can't tell that maybe that this is green right now, but it's definitely lime green. It's my favorite color, even before Charlie XCX Brat. I need to state that on the record that I've been look, it's right here, and this file
Yeah.
is from July 17th. That's a paper trail for everyone.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
And another cool thing that I like to do, I didn't do it at the time with this comic. I hadn't figured it out just yet, but
Uh-huh.
sometimes I with comics you need to have all the writing, and the writing sometimes can be hard to do, and you want it to look match the rest of your comic. I don't want to just throw in some font in there because it's not going to really there's not going to be like that harmony that it needs. So something that
Yeah.
I did not in this comic, but in another comic. Let me see if I have it.
While you're looking for it, Penny wants to know, how do you stay so organized? So many spinning plates.
This is a great question. The answer is that I don't. I just try my best to. So I definitely feel like thank you for the compliment, but there's definitely things that I can't keep track of. I do the best that I can. Um, with my actual files, I just try and group things as much as possible so that I don't get lost in my file, especially because you don't want to waste time clicking around. Um, but in outside of Adobe Fresco, I just do my best. I try and keep my projects aligned, and everything else that I do just for myself is kind of flexible, so I have that bit of wiggle room.
Hmm.
And then I wasn't able to
Awesome.
find the file that has what I'm trying to explain, so I'm just gonna explain it. I'm gonna free form explain it here. So in this file, what I did was set up these like lines for how I wanted all my handwriting to line up. And basically, I just had everything be that tall. But the height of everything was even and nice. And I used, all caps, which is what you do when you're writing comics. So it's really legible.
Mhm.
But a new technique that I've been doing, and it's all thanks to Adobe Fresco, is I take the type tool and I put in a little box. That box is
Laura,
very
of
big, but
course. Mhm.
I'll change it. So I make it smaller. Oh, I wanted it to be the box, but I always make this mistake. It's just the height of the text. Okay, let's keep it there. And then I'll go into Comic Sans. See, it's right here, recent. I use this often.
Ah.
And I'll put it, where I want it to be. Oops. So, oh, my iPad's lagging a little bit. I've been doing, maybe there's one too many files today. And once I'm in here, I double click it. Wait, okay. Here we go. Ah, okay. So like, I'll write out the script, right? And then I'll come in here and I'll be like, oh, okay, this, it's running over. So I'll put it on the next line. And then I'll just use that same uh basically the same settings for the text, right? So I'll copy it and paste it into the next box so it stays in the exact same place. But then
Mhm.
what I'll do to get it back to like the handwriting is I just lower the opacity and then I write over that.
Ah,
And then you're able to, sorry, I have to turn it on its side. I cannot write any other way, everyone.
cute.
So I'll just come in and actually write it based on Comic Sans. And naturally, like the pencil that I'm using
Ah.
and my own hand will make it a little bit different, but
Yeah,
a lot more even. And I don't have to worry about if it's like hard to read or if I have enough space. I don't end up with like one word crushed into the middle or into the
yep,
end, I mean. So this kind of helps me with that. And I can see like, oh, my script is too long. I need to edit out some of the words. I'm able
yeah.
to do it.
What a great trip. This is a great tip, like a secret.
Yeah, I love it because for a bit there I was like, it would take me forever to write it. And I'm like, this is supposed to be like, I'm at the end. I did all the drawings. I have the script. And now I'm like spending an hour trying to get the like writing just right. And now this makes it so much easier. And it's the last thing I do. Right. So, and I make
Yeah.
sure that I have it already edited by the art director or the editor, I mean, so that by the time I come in here, it's like all set and done. And usually I take my time a little bit more than this, but you get the point.
I like Penny's comment. Finally, a use for Comic Sans.
Yes, and it's like very appropriate. It's a very appropriate use. And no one
Yeah,
no
no,
one
this is
can
a
be mad
great
at you
tip.
for this.
Great tip. Carlos wants to know what's your favorite Fresco feature?
My favorite Fresco feature, that's hard for me to pick just one, but I would say that it's the vector. Having both vector and raster is my favorite thing ever because you can go in between the two worlds instead of
Yeah.
having to only work in raster, only work in vector. So that's my favorite thing. But my other favorite thing that's very underrated is the unlimited layers. So I don't even
Hmm.
think about it anymore, but like I don't have to worry about how many layers there are. So I'm never having to delete stuff at the last minute just to finish a project. And then you delete a file that you actually needed. Um, so yeah, that's another underrated tool.
Hmm. And then I forget who asked in the chat if there's a free version of Fresco. I believe there is a free
I think
version
there
of
is. I
Fresco.
think there is. I've been an Adobe subscriber for so long that I'm not exactly sure, but I believe that there is. And I think I don't want to make any promises. I feel like maybe Wade can drop it in the chat, the exact specifics, because I don't want to let you guys down. But I do think it's worth it. It's my favorite tool.
Yeah, I think most apps now, you could try it for free, and then if you want more features, you just have to subscribe and pay.
Yeah, it might be something like that. So, yeah,
Yeah, Wade already did it, I think.
awesome.
Anyway, yeah, and then Cameron Davis just came in. Is it Cameron who said hi? What's up, Fabiola?
Hello. Hi, Cameron. another a fellow
Yeah.
Adobe Live host and guest. Um, okay, what else can I
Let's
show
ask
you
you
guys?
I'm gonna
Yeah,
ask you more questions while you're thinking
let's do it.
about what to show you. What inspires your work, particularly in your own words? You know, this session is this spotlight in your own words is about drawing the everyday in a playful way. Because all your illustrations, your artwork, they're so fun. It's very colorful and fun. So, yeah, what inspires your everyday?
I feel like the reason that I try to work from the everyday is because, like, when you go on vacation or when you go on a really awesome trip or like it's a big birthday or something, it's really like obvious the inspiration, right? It's like the new views or this new era or something like really big and like a milestone of some sort. And I feel like I don't want to wait for my next vacation or wait for like this next big thing to
Yeah,
create some art. And maybe it doesn't have to be that deep, right? Like I can just draw this really cute vase of flowers and that's enough. And that's like, we can make it playful, we can make it fun, but it's not necessarily like, uh, yeah, I'm not waiting for inspiration to strike. I'm just kind of seeing what's around me and drawing what's around me and turning it into something fun as opposed to waiting for this like really deep concept to come my
I
way
like
because
that.
sometimes it doesn't happen.
You have to make it happen, is what I've
Exactly.
learned,
Exactly.
right? Like, you have to see the beauty.
You
I
have
guess that
to.
cliche. Yeah, yeah. Uh, what talking going back to your creative journey, Fabiola, what were some of the most pivotal moments or experience that shaped your path?
Yeah, this is a good question. I mean, I would definitely say that launching like my art Tumblr back in the day was a pivotal moment because from that, just like getting this was in 2000, let's say 12-ish. Just by putting my art out there, I got more comfortable sharing it, and people then started giving me positive feedback. And then you're like, oh, I'm onto something here. It's not just something I need to keep on my hard drive and not show anyone. So that's what made me comfortable sharing my art. And as that kind of grew and uh, made its way through the Tumblr ecosystem at the time, uh, I was able to get high like commissions from different brands and from different publications. And so that was like really eye-opening, right? Because then you're like, oh, this is something more than just a hobby, or maybe, or it could be, right? It's just like that idea that it could be. And then after that, I would say only up in I left my full-time job in 2019 to go study illustration in Barcelona. And that was
Wow.
really pivotal because not so much the schooling, let's say, because I didn't necessarily learn anything I super different in the schooling. It's just the fact that I made that jump and I was able to dedicate time. That was really
Mhm.
pivotal, right? Because I took a break from working full time in New York, and that was yeah, that was a really big milestone, and it allowed me to really see how far this could take me.
How long were you in Barcelona?
I was there only like 6 or 7 months, so it wasn't very long. But it was the best. It was the absolute best. And the reason I left is because
Yeah.
COVID happened right after. So
Oh.
I wasn't able to really enjoy it as much. But yeah, it was a great time and it let me really focus on my art and it also provided a ton of inspiration.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing that you took those steps. On the flip side, what was the most challenging what
Mm.
were some of the most challenging things you faced as an artist, as an illustrator, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I think once you take the take the chance on becoming an illustrator, then that the whole time it's a little bit difficult, right? Because you're trying to make it always work, and have stable work and have different like projects going on and advance your skill set and manage everything. So I think the hardest thing is just treating it like a business and not like just like a freelancer, right? You have to really treat the whole thing, all of your artwork as a business, and that's hard. And I wouldn't necessarily say that I've overcome it. It's just an ongoing skill that you have to develop. And I definitely feel like I'm way further along than I was when I first started, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. What are you currently working on that you're excited about?
That I'm excited that I can mention.
That you can
That I
mention.
can
That's right.
mention. Let's see. I'm working on, so I have a newsletter. I'm going to pop over here to show it to you. So I have a newsletter where I give, so before being an illustrator, I worked as a social media strategist, and I
Mhm.
liked it because it was really creative. I had to like think of really fun ways for our brand to show up on social. And now I want to help artists do the same thing because I know that there's a lot of challenges when it comes to getting your artwork out there on social, especially as
Yeah.
like the social media landscape only gets more and more competitive. So I've created this newsletter, and yeah, I just write different thoughts. So I have here, like, should you be vulnerable as an artist online, right? Because that's like, how much do you want to share with your audience? Um, then my 3 content calendar must-haves for artists. Oops, I'm not logged in. You have to subscribe. Um, but yeah,
How do
so
people subscribe to this newsletter?
you just go to fabiolalara.beehive.com. It's right there. You can also find it on my Instagram. It's in my bio. So it's very easy to find. And so I've been really loving writing as an outlet right now. Aside from just illustrating, it really helps me just kind of have a different tool to use, you know, and to be creative. Yeah. I would say that. And I'm always working on my own comics and stuff like that. So, but right now I'm really focused on this newsletter. Uh, so yeah, that I can mention, Wade, as I said.
You work on comics on a regular basis for yourself, you're saying. Are you gonna publish them someday?
I post them on my Instagram when they're ready. Sometimes I write them and I hold on to them for a bit if I'm not sure. But yeah, I work on them pretty regularly. And aside from, you know, my illustration work, I also do some content creation. So, for example, something that I can mention is that I've been working with Best Buy to create content for them that lives over on their channels. And there's nothing out yet, but I've been working with them and it's really fun. You know, I personally, as an artist, love to explore that side of things and not just only illustration work. I feel
Yeah.
like I can be creative in so many ways, and I love translating that to different projects, be it a newsletter or content or a podcast. You know, I just have a lot of fun doing that kind of thing, and then like having it all live together in kind of my little world.
Yeah, yeah. How are you finding, new clients these days? Is it still on through online, word of mouth? Do you do any
Yeah.
outreach, or is it all inbound?
No, I do outreach. I reach out, you know, I find art directors on LinkedIn to reach out to if I think I'm a good fit. Obviously, you want to there's a skill involved with this. I don't want everyone to go email everyone they can find right now, but you have to really like see if you're the right fit for them. Really think about like, should this person genuinely hire me or do I just want them to hire me? You know, there's a difference there. And
Yeah,
then pitch something maybe specific to them and see what comes of it. Sometimes people answer, sometimes they don't answer. You have to kind of take it on the chin. And but then there is also word of mouth because I've done lots of projects, or a lot of people also find my work on Instagram and then they'll be like, oh, I want something like this. And it'll be like a personal piece, but I want it for my brand. So that's kind of how I go about it. It's a mix of everything.
Wade is like, "Teach us the skill of reaching out," and
Yeah, it's email skills. It can be a little challenging and what's it called? Intimidating, I think, but I kind of just pretend it didn't happen. After I hit send, I just like try to pretend I never did anything. And then if if I get an email back, I'm like, oh yeah, I did that thing where I emailed them. So that's kind of how I approach it. But just being really intentional because you don't want to. My biggest thing when it comes to email is like don't waste the reader's time, right? Because like they're really the people that you're contacting are busy, busy people. So you want to be able to like be succinct and tell them like exactly what you need and what they can do for you if they want to, instead of just like paragraphs on paragraphs about my career. Like,
I've learned that. To any busy people or executives especially is you need to shorten. It's harder to write 1 or 2
it's
sentences
really
rather than 1
hard.
paragraph. I know, but also, I don't know how you all feel about ChatGPT or AI tools, but I would highly suggest using one of those, like, "Hey, shorten this long paragraph to 2 sentences to get your
Yes.
point across."
I've definitely done that because writing is not my favorite skill. I say that like I can write, right? Like I do comics and I have a newsletter, but email is so different. It's like this is business. You want to be really to the point, direct, kind, but not too kind where you're like a pushover. So,
Right.
it's a
It has to be a good
balance.
balance.
Yeah, it's
Balance.
definitely a
And it's
balance.
trial and error, trial and error.
Yeah,
So, Cameron, I know it could be exhausting after sending 1 email, but
it
I would
can.
encourage you to, do 1 today, maybe 2 tomorrow, up the number as you go along, and like I said, maybe try AI to help you shorten
Yeah.
and, narrow it down.
I also have
Yeah.
one more advice when it comes to email, and it's that, which I think is a really important thing for artists of all kinds to do, right? To do some outreach. I cannot remember where I heard this. It was definitely like a speaker, I think at Icon, which is the illustration conference, but the previous one, not the one that just happened. And I don't remember the
Mhm.
speaker anymore. I'm so sorry. But they were saying that the best time to email someone is a Thursday because it's like
Oh.
they're anticipating the weekend. So vibes good, right? On a Monday,
You're
it's
in
like,
a
oh my
good
gosh,
mood.
you like put all this email in my inbox on Monday. Like I'm overwhelmed. I already have other priorities. Like but you're my last priority, right? But on a Thursday, things are winding down, right? Like we're wrapping things up. If there's something pending, we're not bringing it up on a Friday morning. Like you hold that till
Yeah,
Monday. So
yeah,
the best thing to do is to email someone on a Thursday, but additionally, when it's a nice day. So if it's a rainy
yeah.
Thursday, don't do it.
Don't do it?
Don't do it.
Oh,
But if it's a nice Thursday, it's just better. And I think I haven't tested it myself, but I do think that there's something to this just from my experience working in corporate America. It's like, yeah, a sunny, awesome Thursday. Tomorrow's a summer Friday. Like, I'm feeling generous, you know?
yeah, you have to catch people when they're in a good frame of mind, in a good mood. That sounds very solid. The advice
Yeah.
is super solid, y'all.
Yeah.
Always on Thursdays.
And I
Yeah.
literally check the weather of where they are. Wait is saying that you're trying to be funny. This is a fact. I have done this where I'm like, what's it like in California today? Or like, what's it like in wherever they are? Just to check, right? Like, if there's a crazy snowstorm or heat wave, like
Yeah,
maybe they're not gonna want to answer me that day. So you got to be a
yeah,
little strategic, but also just like if that's like the cherry on top, don't let that stop you from sending an email. So my advice is just like
yeah,
an additional step you can take. The first step is write and send emails.
yeah, exactly. You gotta do it no matter
Yeah.
what.
Mm-hmm.
I have a personal question. Do you besides Fresco on the iPad, do you use a pen and paper? Do you have a sketchbook? Do you doodle? Or is it all
Yes.
digital?
So this is funny. Like I do have a sketchbook and I definitely keep one. I'm not the most religious sketchbook user. I wish I was, right? I wish I could say that. Like, yeah, I fill sketchbooks like no one's business. Like I have stacks in the back. No, that's not true. I have like the same sketchbook for like a year and sometimes I'm like on it, sometimes I'm not on it. And I want to be honest about that because I always find it intimidating when an artist tells me that they have like a really prolific sketchbook practice. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do that's like I can't be an artist because I don't do that, but you can. And when I'm really using it, I do tend to use a lot of pencil. I've been really getting into ink lately because I think it's a really
Hmm.
fun way to like work quickly and work you can't erase, right? So sometimes like
Yeah.
digital tools and pencil, I rely on erasing. And I feel like when you use ink, you have to be so careful with the pressure and you have to like make those quick decisions on how you want to draw something. So I really like that. And once I do that, I come over to Fresco and find a tool that's similar and see how it translates digitally. So that's kind of
Yeah.
how one informs the other. Um, Definitely like they play together, but then like client work, almost always I need to do it digitally so that it's like
Yeah.
clean and tidy for their use.
Yeah. Yeah. What has been some of your favorite projects for clients?
Yeah, so some of my favorite projects, I would definitely say the Instagram one was my favorite. Oops. Uh because let me see, where was it? Over here. Well, it was my favorite because I've used Instagram since it launched, but also
Mhm.
because a lot of cool people used it during the last elections. They're still available, so maybe they're going to be still available
I
for the
didn't
next
even
elections.
I didn't even know this was you, and I have seen all of these. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I know. It's because, I made them for Instagram, so once I handed it to them, they're just theirs.
It's
But I
theirs.
also
Aw.
when you tap them, they're available in Spanish. So it was really a really fun opportunity to use like Spanish in my work, which it's not that I don't want
Mhm.
to use it, it's just that it doesn't often naturally come up. So that was really one of my favorite projects. And let's see, I can't remember sometimes. Um, I really liked this. So I did some live portraits at Urban Outfitters for an event that they had and I
Oh.
really really loved it. It was so fun. At the time I
Aw.
was working in pencil, and this is where I learned that pencil just takes a little too long. So I loved how it
Uh-huh.
turned out, right? It's really fun, but and thankfully I had the time to do that, but with ink, I now know that I'm able to work a little bit faster and simpler.
Mhm.
So, I want to do this again using ink and see how I can make the whole process go by faster. But this was really fun to interact with people because as an illustrator, I tend to just work alone all the time in my house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So getting out there was fun.
And I'm sure people appreciated it. They're probably like, "Wow, it really looks like me, and it's so fun." And yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it also helped me like polish up on those skills. Like I was saying, drawing on paper as opposed to digitally. I was very nervous before doing this. I spent like a week trying to draw people like all day trying to draw people and make sure how timing myself and stuff but
Uh,
yeah, it turned out great. It was really fun, and I think one of my favorite things about doing live events like this is that yeah, you get to connect with people, you get to hand them the artwork. Most of the time I'm working with brands, so like the company gets the art. This is like a person who gets to cherish the art, so that's really fun.
yeah.
um and yeah, once you're done, there's like no revisions, right? Like when I work with a
Yeah.
brand, it's like a back and forth, endless, not endless, right? But like there's it's a long time. It's like weeks of working on something. This, I show up, I draw the thing in 2 minutes, and then you hand it over and you're done.
Yeah. You have total control, and
Yes.
it's something people will cherish.
Yes.
I promise you. I got one of those done once in Seattle, and I still have it up on my wall. Like, she was so quick.
Yes. Some
Um,
people are so
so
quick
yeah,
with it. I'm so impressed. I'm always trying to be a little faster with it, but it's really fun when you get a chance to do it.
yeah. Tell us about this thing that you're showing, the knot.
Yes. So this was for the Knot. It's like a bridal magazine, and they had this really cool flow chart that they wanted these illustrations to complement. So they gave me direction for the types of illustrations that they wanted. I'm wondering, look, here's a kind of a messy file because I don't remember. I thought that I thought that I had more in here. Hold on, guys. Let me see. Let me turn some of these off. I thought I had other pieces of this in here, but maybe not. So here's the sketch. Can't really see that. So this was the sketch. And because like my sketches are a little crazy, I had to be like plates,
Oh.
like just so you know, I'm not gonna like sit here and draw a plate. Like just it will be one. It will be one at the time. And yeah, from there I just freehanded this little cake and I looked at references for like cake design and then I brought in some of those elements. And I what I wanted to do here is I'm going to duplicate this because I never like to um, flatten my stuff if I don't have to, since I have unlimited layers. But I'll
Mhm.
duplicate and have another one flattened. So this one's flattened. But what I wanted to show you guys is that when I made this, like there was no symmetry tool, but just recently there's a symmetry tool announcement and I haven't used it with the vector brush. So this is a bit of an experiment here. But if you go into
Mhm.
the graphs right here, symmetry, turn it on, then you're able to move guides. So I think you can move them with I'm moving it with my fingers right now, but hold on. Yeah. With my pencil, oh my gosh. I have too many things selected, everyone. Let me close this. Okay. I can, oh my goodness. I know I moved these before. There we go. Okay. So you got to do it with your fingers.
Fingers?
Yeah. I mean, I think so.
Mhm.
Maybe I think I did it with my pencil before. Let me see. There we go. I did it with my pencil on the white. I was just confused which one
Got it.
to grab. But so, like I was showing you earlier, I tend to draw using the lasso tool to make like the base vector drawing. So I want to see if
Uh-huh.
this will do if it'll invert the lasso tool or not. Let's see. Okay, it's not, but I wonder if when I close it, yes, see? So now it's
Oh.
done it, and I didn't do a great job. So you really need to get on that middle line, but there we go. So that's a fun way to still make
That
it
no.
imperfect, but also have some symmetry because you want symmetry for harmony and balance and all these reasons. So let me try this
Yeah.
a little bit better. So I'm going to take the lasso tool. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to go like end to end, and then I'm going to draw my cake layers, connect it. Okay.
I'm getting hungry.
Yes. Good. I that's my intention. And then from here, I usually like to, cut off little bits to basically carving my cake. And then the symmetry tool is
Mm.
really cool because you're able to work on either side and keep it somewhat even. So like maybe these tiers are a little too big. Maybe I want to get rid of that. So
Oh,
nice.
wow.
And then I want to try that with the noise brush. So I do have like all my own colors. So this is my color palette that I just referenced. And I love having it because I have it set as a library. So it shows up across all my Adobe programs. So everything always looks like I put it all together very
Mhm.
precisely, but it's just because it's the easiest thing because my library is right there everywhere I go.
Yeah.
So I'll take the noise control and then, oh, that is so cool. I'm definitely going to enjoy using this symmetry brush.
Oh, that is so fun. And you
And
make it look so easy.
I mean, I feel like, I
It
tried a lot of complicated ways to illustrate and then I landed on this one and I have fun with it. So that's why, I like to keep it simple and then add some of those details at the end. So let me see. Okay, let's go like
and I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it also looks like it's a big time saver.
it definitely is. That was awesome. And I definitely am going to be using this because sometimes that's where you get caught up, like trying to, I want it to look messy, but I also need it to look elevated in a sense, or
Uh-huh.
purposeful. So, for
Yeah.
example, I had done these little, uh, I don't know what I'm going to call them, little ribbons.
Mhm.
And so now it would be so much easier to do this.
Yeah.
because I don't have to worry about it matching up as much. Like I don't have to make sure I'm just eyeballing it, and that's going to save me a ton of time. So, and I can work on a bunch of different layers. I'm really enjoying it. But I haven't used
How
this
do
before, no.
you Yeah, I imagine this is a time saver, and if you have multiple projects going on at the same time for different clients, then, you can get more things done and make more money.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be using that. I didn't realize how much I missed it, you know?
Mhm.
And there's all these other ways to reflect too. You can reflect horizontally, quadratically.
Oh, wow. I see
So
what you mean by
it
the
could be
quads.
a really cool way to do a pattern without having to think too hard about what you're doing, because you can
Yeah.
get kind of like a looping pattern out of this, I'm sure. So, yeah, there's a lot of fun ways to use it. I just made a mess of my drawing. It's okay. So, I just wanted to
Aw.
showcase that because mostly I wanted to try it, but also it's just, I knew
Yeah.
that it was going to help me out and that I could use it.
Hey, Bruce Gonzalez. I thank you for joining. You said that you joined a little late, but you're really enjoying the stream. Thank you. And you can rewatch the beginning, anytime on YouTube, Adobe Live, as you know. He's really enjoying your workflow. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, of course. I hope you guys can take some of this and apply it to your work.
Yeah. Yeah. So to cap things up, Fabiola, do you want to just maybe tell us in 60 seconds or so some
Yes.
of the things that you've shared, some tips and tricks, and
Yeah,
it's been
definitely.
amazing. It went by so fast this hour.
I
Holy
know, I
cow.
know. So in today's stream, I shared how I use both vector and raster to create everything from comics to editorial work. I use the text tool to create a base for me to hand draw my own text. I'm now going to use the symmetry tool to kind of add some symmetry to my illustrations and save some time. But yeah, we talked about all of that and also went over like my career, my trajectory, some things that I've overcame and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely think you should replay it and follow me over at Fabiolita Draws on Instagram.
Yes, and Wade put all your links on the chat. I don't think I ever even introduced myself. I mean, my name should be there, but
It
I'm
is.
Teresa Au. I work on the community team at Adobe, and my focus and passion is driving customer empathy as well as community advocacy. So I love doing this kind of thing, highlighting our creators in the community. And thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Don't forget to subscribe to Adobe Live on YouTube and also our Instagram channel. And then I think right after me is Ryan Selvey. Right after this is Ryan Selfie. He is going to be showing people how to redesign a family recipe card, uh,
Oh,
digital
cute.
artifacts. Yeah, yeah. So much fun. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Robert, all the names have gone over, but all the
Alessandra,
participants,
thank you so much.
Bruce, yeah, Alexandra. You do work with I'm confused. You said if you got to work with brands, you would faint, and then somebody said you already do. Well, if you don't, you will. You
Yes.
will. Just
Yes.
manifest that. Yeah.
Exactly. I have faith in
But
everyone.
thank you for Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, trial and error. Emails are not that scary. Just get them out there. Remember to check the weather, and it's usually on a Thursday is the best day. But this was so fun. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much for
much.
having me. Thank you so much for having me. I really had a blast chatting with you and answering everyone's questions and just sharing a little bit more about how I get things done.
Sign up for her newsletter, which Wade also put on the chat, and I can't wait too because it looks so fun. Not
Wait,
just like text
yes.
wise, but Yeah,
aesthetically,
the
I try.
content. Yeah, so
Thank you,
fun.
everyone.
Bye.